We're up to Oizvov. The Rebbe explained earlier. He brought down from the Maimer of the Rebbe Rashab um, to explain the idea of the mitzvah hazois loy nifleisim chav loy rechoiko. Uh, so he all basically he explained that a yid is able to tap into the highest madregas, atik and arich, into the highest levels. He's able to bring it down. That means loy nifleisi mimcha v'loy rechoiko. Nifleisi is atik, rechoiko is arich, and still mimcha from a yid, it's not distant. A yid has all of these madregas. And the question is, and how does a yid have all these madrigas? So he explained because in both interpretations of Kelim Reikim, whether a yid works with Mesiras Nefesh, B'chol Moedecha, then he taps into the level of Arich, and when he does with Bittel, with self negation, then he taps in even higher, even into the level of Atik, and he gets everything. As he says, a Yid has everything, we give him everything from above. But it almost seems like that this is a natural result to be able to reach these high levels because that's directly connected to the avoid of the Yid. When the Yid works with B'chol Moedecha, he will get to the higher level. When he works with Bittel, he will get to even a higher level. So that means that it's initiated by the person. The person uses his own level of Yechida, his own level of Chaya, and he does the mitzvahs with that level. So it should be no surprise that he is mamshich the makifim milmailo, which are equivalent to his avodah. So what's the chiddush over here to tell you that loy nifleisi v'loy rechoika, that it's not far, it's not distant, it's not wondrous from you, seems to be obvious. And the Rebbe explains that that the Yid gets it, it's not only in the higher level, but it's his nefesh, ruach, and neshama, his intellect are the ones, that's the mimcha, loy nifleisi mimcha, that even in your pnimius, you can get from the level of loy nifleisi. So it's not that the chaya or the yechida, they get this level of your neshama, get the level of atik and arich, but the chiddush is that even your nefesh, ruach, and neshama, your koiches pnimium connect with the level of atik and arich. Let's see inside. Hey, b'tzorich lahavin. So we need to understand ma mechadish hakosuv bozeh. What is the pasuk coming up with this novel idea, Shaha mitzvah hazois. The Rebbe learned before that both mitzvah hazois from the minor can either mean all mitzvahs, but particularly we're talking about the mitzvahs hatshuva. So the mitzvahs hatshuva specifically, so we're saying, and the mitzvahs hatshuva, we said that is invest the person's chaya yechida into teshuva. So a mitzvah is teshuva. Is loy nifleisi mimecha v'loy rechoiko. He is not wondrous from you, not distant. He, the lechayre would seem mikivon shagam ba'odom, since also by the person. Avoidas hatshuva hi b'hamakifim chaya yechida. the service of teshuvah, this particular mitzvah, is with the person's makifim of chayi yichida, shehem bedugmas makifim shalom ma'ilo arich v'atik, which are similar to the makifim of above, of the level of arich and atik. Mahu hachidish kol kach. So why is it such a surprise, such a novel idea? Bazeh shal yidei ha'avoda ba'makifim dahaneshama. When we serve the Eibishter with the makifim of our soul, nimshachim ha'makifim delamaylo, that these makifim of above are drawn down. What's the surprise? So what's the chiddush? We're saying, Lo nifleisim. The pasuk is telling us that don't be surprised at this. Why should we be surprised? It seems like it's a natural outcome. Avodas hatshuva is with the level of makifim of the neshama, and the avodah of makifim of the neshama elicits a similar response from the makifim from above, arichanati. The Rebbe explains that we're bringing it down in the nefesh, ruach, and neshama. It's not that we're bringing down the makifim to chaya yechida, but we're bringing it down in the pnimis, the nefesh, ruach, and neshama. V'yesh loymar, we can say, when it says, loyre choyka mimcha, who's mimcha? The mimcha, koi al nefesh, ruach, and neshama, shehem ikir ha'odam. That refers to nefesh, ruach, and neshama, which is the main of the person. The makifim, those are above, that's higher. The main person is the nefesh, ruach, and neshama, is the pnimis. So, what are we saying over? We're saying mimcha. The gam shet shuva hi b'makifim the neshama, although that shuva is in the surrounding parts of the neshama Chai Yechid of the neshama is working for the level of tshuva, but still, b'chdei la'orer hamakifim tzricha liyas his bonus. In order to arouse, wake up, and bring about these makifim, you need to have the level of reflection. His bonus, through his bonus. And this meditation reflection, which is the nefesh, ruach, and neshama, they need to be in such a way that through that meditation, through that reflection, the makifim, those surrounding lights that are higher in the seichel, will be aroused. That is why the chiddush is here, that even in your avodas, in the main part of the person, nefesh, ruach, and neshama, you're tapping in and you're arousing and waking up that makifim. And that's the requirement in order to get to the level of teshuvah, to get to those makifim. To awaken, arouse the makifim which are higher than sech. This is the novel, the chiddush. Shemimcha koi al nefesh ruach neshama. Lo nifleis mimcha you, meaning nefesh ruach neshama, the main you cannot. What's the chiddush? The hagam shamakifim chaya yechida. Even though the makifim of chaya yechida of the person is neshama's level of chaya yechida, heim nifloim v'rechoikim nefesh ruach neshama. They are wondrous and distant from the nefesh, ruach, and neshama. And the chiddush is mekol mokoim, and yet bekoyach hanefesh, ruach, neshama. It's still within the power of the nefesh, ruach, and neshama li oider to arouse Al yidei ha'izbainanus hamas ima, through the fitting reflection as a makifim chaya yichida, the makifim of chaya yichida. Ve'al yodom, and then once you tap in through your meditation to your level of chaya yichida, and through them gamma makifim shalamaylo, through the chaya yichida, then you can get the makifim shalamaylo. Arich va'atik, arich nach. Atamal ze who. And the reason how could that taka happen is kimov alil soif siv dalet ma'maimer, as brought down at the end of siv dalet from the maimer, kineshomas Yisrael, because the Jewish soul, and we're talking hainagam hanaran, also the nefesh ruach neshama, yesh lam hakoil, they really have everything. And also from above, you give them everything. That means that we have been given the power that also the nefesh ruach and neshama should be able to arouse and wake up the chaya yechida, and then we will get the level of arich v'atik. So the Rebbe explained over here that the chiddush, that it's not nifleis or the what is this surprise that these levels come down? Is the surprise is because they're aroused, they're woken up by the nefesh ruach and neshama. And the chiddush is, how could the nefesh ruach and neshama, which is so distant from the chaya yichida, tap in and arouse the chaya yichida? And the answer is mimcha. The answer is loy mimcha, that the nefesh ruach, the Eibishter gave us all the koiches. He gives us everything so we can do that too. Both. And so what does it mean? So the Rebbe is going to first explain now in Ois Vav how the two aspects of Lo Nifleisi Mimcha is by all mitzvahs, and how all mitzvahs have the part which is nifleis and rechoika, and the Rebbe is going to eventually come out that you tap in even to the higher level, in the highest of levels within the neshama itself. Let's look inside. Well, the Yuvon Zeh Behagdim, understanding this by introducing Shehabiyur B'diuk Loshen HaKosuf, that when we explain these precise words of the pasuk, and we said that loy nifleis hi mimcha, that this is not nifleis from you. So we're talking about mitzvah hazois that I've quoted before from the Ramban, specifically the mitzvah of teshuvah. That's the Ramban's interpretation. But others interpret also that it means all mitzvahs. Hugam leha pirush mimcha davke. And we're saying that the Yid has the ability, and it's lo nifleis hugam leha pirush. This is also if we explain sheha mitzvah hazois koi al klolus ha-mitzvahs, that this mitzvah, ki ha-mitzvah hazois asher anochi, where the pasuk says lo nifleis, is talking about generally mitzvahs. And over there, we're saying lo nifleisi mimcha, that davke by Yid it's not mimcha. L'cheira, Mele, the Ramban, we explain mitzvah means tshuva. So teshuva, we know in order to get to the higher, to the balaros and higher, you need a level of higher than atik, arich, all the inyonim. But no, also mitzvahs, we have two madregas. The gam, the pirush zeh, also according to this pirush, a mitzvah hazoisi bebechinas pella. Also, the mitzvah is pella. It's also As brought down before him from the Maimer. Shagam kol mitzvahs. Also, not only tshuva, but all mitzvahs. Liyoyzum rotzin ha'elyon shelamayla mahatam. Mitzvahs are the supreme will. Hashem wants this. So there's no reason over there. Hein bechinas pella verichuk. There's still, it's a pella verichuk, it's surprise and distant. Elo, sha'afal pikein, the pasuk says, loy nifleisi mimcha mi Yisrael. Still, mimcha loy nifleisi. Which means that the chiddush is not only with regards to mitzvahs shuvah, but also all mitzvahs, which mitzvahs are the rotzina elyon, is loy nifleis v'loy rechayke. What is the two madregas? Yes, loymar, we can say, the zeh she'oimer beis l'shoynes niflos v'rechayke hu. The fact that he says there two languages, he says nifleis v'rechayke, because mitzvahs yesh shnei inyonim. A mitzvah has two aspects to it. The fact that mitzvahs is Hashem's will, so mitzvahs are rotzen. Rotzen shalamayla mitam, a rotzen which is higher than reasoning, so it means it's beyond seichel, beyond intellect. But there's another aspect, that after the rotzin of Hashem dresses up into the wisdom of Torah, so nitoiser gam tam l'chol mitzvah, there was also added on a reason for every mitzvah. So every mitzvah also has a reason. So there's two things. The one is that Hashem wants us to do that. That's the rotzin. But then there's also an explanation. There's also a reason that was added to it, which when it comes down, in Chochmah of Torah. This is the two languages of Pella and Richuk. The Horotzin shebe mitzvahs, the Rotzin which is in mitzvahs, liyoser l'maylo mitam, since it's above reason, hu Pella, that's considered wonders. The taimei ha-mitzvahs, but the reason for mitzvahs, kemoi sheheim, mitzad ha-chochmah de Torah k'moi shehi l'maylo, but the reason of mitzvahs, the way it's from the perspective of chochmah de Torah, not the way the Torah that we have here, but the chochmah of the Torah as it's above, k'moi shehi l'maylo, that's called richuk. The rotzain of mitzvahs is pella, when the mitzvahs come down into Torah with a reason, that is rochik, because that wisdom is also far. Ay dagam shegam taime ha-mitzvahs k'moi shehem b'chochmasa yizborich. It's far, but also the reasons of the mitzvahs, as it's in Hashem's wisdom, before it comes down to Torah, it comes down into His blessed wisdom, the way it's above. They're still higher than the understanding of the human intellect. So, why do we say only that it is rochik? The difference between rochik and pele, far away, means that it's only distant, but there is some connection. But the essence, these reasons for the mitzvahs in Hashem's chokhmah are not only distant, it would seem, they're beyond the understanding, the grasp of the human intellect. So it should be even more than rechoika. It should be niflas here, just like we're talking about the rotzin. Just like we're saying the rotzin Hashem is pele. So why is the wisdom, that the chokhmah is baruch, why is that considered only rochik, not pele? So he explains because at least it's a source for the chokhmah that comes from it. So that's what he says. Again, the reason of the mitzvah, the way in Hashem's wisdom, they're beyond the understanding of the human intellect. Yet, this chokhmah of above, it is a source for the wisdom and the intellect of the created being, while it's beyond understanding, but it's a source for the understanding. It's a shaydish for the understanding. That's why it's not nifleis. The reason why it's rechoika is because while we don't understand it, but it becomes the source for our chokhmah. That's why it's rechoika. Mashenke the rotzen is niflos. It's totally above. So what the Rebbe explained over here, that in mitzvahs in general, we have the two aspects of loy nifles for loy rechoika. We have the rotzen ha'elyon, the desire, then we have the wisdom, the tama mitzvahs. And the rotzen ha'elyon is considered nifles. That's something totally beyond the comprehension, but the level of chokhmah, while it's beyond the human being, because it is still the source of the chokhmah, that's why it's called rechoika. And the Rebbe is going to add now that this is all that we're talking about, the level of nifleis or rechoika in mitzvahs. It only applies to the Torah mitzvahs, the way it's come down in Torah mitzvahs, that it has some sort of a connection. But before the Torah, the way it's lamaila, before it comes down, it's not even nifleis or rechoika, it's beyond. There's no connection. You can't say that something is wondrous or something is distant if there's no connection to what it's wondrous and distant. It's wondrous of something. There is a higher level in mitzvahs which is beyond wondrous and beyond distant. That's even higher than that. Higher than that rotzen elyon and the chokhmah that we're talking about. Zayin. Yes, lahaisi, we can add the mitzvahs v'ha-Torah, the mitzvahs and the Torah, which is taimeh ha-mitzvahs. So the mitzvahs are the rotzen, Torah is the chokhmah, the reason of mitzvahs. K'moy shehem mitzad atzmam, on their own, meaning before they come down to become a mitzvah and a Torah for a yid, ein shayich loymar aleihem gam ha-Torah de pele berichuk. It doesn't apply to call them, describe them as pele berichuk. Ki loshen pela, even to say something is wondrous, or mikolshkein loshen richik, and for sure something is distant, because wondrous is even more further away than richuk, which is distant. But still, either way, even pela moire, napon shadover hamuflo yesh loy ezu shayches, that thing that is wondrous has some sort of a connection la dover shemuflo memenu, to the item, to the matter in which he's wondrous. He's wondrous of this. So there must be some connection to say that something is wondrous from the other one. It has to have the, in other words, talking in relationship to something else. So there has to be a something else that is somewhat there, and we say it's not related. If you have two matters that have no connection between them, a neifel loshen pella, it doesn't use the loshen. Wondrous cannot say but things that don't have no connection. It brings down the loshen similar to what it says in Tanya. Ukemoi shein shayich loimar al svoros sichlis. You can't say on an idea. You have a very deep understanding. So you say Shehini Fleis. Wow, what a wonder, what a great idea. This is so wondrous that it's wondrous Mechush Hamishush from the sense of being able to feel. You can't even feel this intellect. What's the connection? We're talking about Seichel. If you say this is such a deep intellect, it's much deeper than this idea, than another idea, because two ideas are basically in the same category. They're the category of ideas. You can say that one idea is wondrous over the other idea, but you can't say the idea is wondrous over feeling. It's feeling is not in the category b'chlal. So which means that when we're saying that Torah and mitzvahs are pella and rochaik, it means we're talking about that they have a connection. But Torah and mitzvahs be'etzim are even higher than that. Torah mitzvahs when the Torah mitzvahs, when do we say that it's richuk and pella? Once they already descended to have some sort of connection to the world, there's a connection. We're saying, oh, it's pella, oh, it's rachel. Where does this descent start? The hascholas hayirida hizeh. The beginning of this descent is when we say Torah comes before world. So just saying that Torah comes before world, you're measuring it against the world. You're saying Torah is before world. So we're already talking about the world, and we're talking about the Torah comes before. So there is a shaykhs to the world. We say that Scholos Heridas Torah Kodmol. The Torah Kamoshi Mitzad Atzma, the Torah as in is in of itself. Eino Begeder Omen Klal is not defined, it's not in the world B'chlal. Vein Shayich Loimar Aleho Shekodmo Le'olam. It doesn't apply. There's no connection to say it comes before the world. It's not measured. It's not measured. You can't measure it against the world. You can't say before because it's not in the same category. But when the rabbi said, blessed memory said, Alpayim Shona Kodmo Torah Loilom, that the 2,000 years the Torah is before the world. Ubadarga the Torah, that's talking about the step, the level in Torah. As the Torah descended to be in the definition of the world. In the level when it descended to be in the world, you can say it's before the world. That's a level of descent. We're not just saying that it came before, we're giving a defined number. We're saying how much. There's a measure how much it came before. We're not just saying it came first. Alpayim Shona. Say 2,000 years it comes before. So B'chlal, to get to the point where Torah is higher than world, it has to first come down to the world. And once it's in the world, that's when we say that it's Kodma Lo'ilam, that it comes before the world. And we say a specific number. We say 2,000 years, which means a measure. That's only after it's descended into the world. After that was the first descent, that it went down to the world. That's 2,000 years before the world. But after this, Yorda Oit Kama V'Kama Yeridus, it descended many and many other descents. Ad Shenim Shcholam, until it came below to our Torah mitzvahs. Ubedarge Zu the Torah. And in this level of Torah, K'moy Shehi, so after its descent, We're talking about even the first descent, all descents. It started with Alpaim Shona, and then it goes down, down, down. The Torah comes down to Lao Torah. In all after the Yerida, Shehi Darga Klolis, talking about the general step, a descent. Hakelelas Kama Kama Dargas Proteus, which includes the descent, means it includes many and many specific individual descents, several steps. Mahadarga the Torah Shekod Meloilom, from the level, the step that Torah comes before the world, V'adla Darga the Torah Shenim Shchalamata, till the step of Torah that comes down below. Shayich Loimar, She B'Bchinas Pella V'Richuk. Over here we can say it's Pella V'Richuk. The Rebbe explains Pella V'Richuk, even we're saying Lo Nifleisi, V'Lo Rechoiko, when we say we're Chal to Torah mitzvahs, it's only once the Torah has come down into the level of Yerida, a descent, even the Paim Shona. Over there is the place in the Rechoika. But before in Etzem of Torah, that's Bichlal higher. So now we know that Torah is even higher than the level of what's a Paim Shona Kod Mala'ilam. The Torah Be'etzem is higher. So the Rebbe says now that when we're saying Lo Nifleisi, we're not only talking about the level of Torah mitzvahs, the way it came down, we're talking about Torah B'etzem. B'yesh Loimar, we can say, the Zesha Oimer Lo Nifleisi Mimcha V'Lo Rechoikohi. When he said Lo Nifleisi Mimcha, and it's not distant, HaKavona Bozehi LaHaTorah Mitzvahs, that the attention here, Torah mitzvahs, K'moi Shehem B'chinas Pella V'Richuk, it is the level of Torah mitzvah as it's Pella V'Richuk, but the Gam, and also La Torah mitzvahs K'moshe Mitzad Atzmon, also to Torah mitzvahs as they're their own. Koidem Yiridosam, before they descended. Then it applies to say the description Pella Richok after the descent. But we were including in this also Torah mitzvah Shegam of their in their source. Shegam Dargazu the Torah mitzvahs, even the level which is higher, and we can't even call it Pella and Richok. Even that that also is not far from you. Even though we don't call it Nifleis and Rechoika, because it's even higher than Nifleis and Rechoika. Torah, because when the Torah was given, Nitnu Yisrael Kol Hadargas the Torah, all levels of Torahs were given. Gam Hadarga the Torah K'moshe Mitzad Atzma. Also the level of Torah as it's on its own, even before the descent to the Alpaim Shona, Kodma Torah Loilum. Before its descent of having connection to the worlds, also that part of Torah was matan, Torah was given. To the extent that the place where Torah and Hashem are one, that's the highest of the highest level, which Torah and Hashem is one. So the Rebbe was machadish over here in Ois Zayin, that what we are able to tap in, what we get, every Yid can get, is not only the level of Torah mitzvahs, which are Rechoika and Nifleisi, which comes after the Yerida, but even Torah Be'etzem, every part of it was given at the time of Matan Torah. Okay, leave it over here.